When it comes to Smash Brothers, a proper control scheme can make an incredible difference to your performance in-game. Which begs the question, is there an optimal control scheme for Shulk mains? For the answer, we not only looked in depth to the benefits and consequences of different options, but found out what some of the best placing Shulk mains use in tournament. We will focus on 3, Nico, Darkwolf, and Tremendo Dude. My Smash Corner has already done a video on Smash control schemes. If you haven't already, you should definitely check it out, as it covers many of the benefits and drawbacks of various control options that are not character specific. However, Shulk is a rather unique case because of his Monado arts and advanced techniques. His control scheme makes a huge difference on his playstyle, because it changes the ease of cycling through arts, performing Monado Purge, Malk, aerial spacing, and much more. Putting in the time to retrain your fingers will reward you, improving your future performances and overall potential as a Shulk main. One thing we will not be covering is Beto, as it would require an entire video to properly discuss its effects on Shulk's gameplay and control. In the meanwhile, we recommend taking a look at Trella's Beto Shulk play at low tier zone, or looking at the content of Art Attack and Ryuk Red, 2 members of the Shulk Discord who put a lot of lab time into Beto Shulk. First, we look at Nico, a Shulk main from SoCal currently ranked 12th on their PR. Nico has a very simple control scheme. His main choices of interest are keeping tap jump on and using a C-stick set to attack instead of smash. The attack stick provides several advantages over smash stick. It allows for the easy use of up tilts, Shulk's best anti-air tool. This is great for use with the Monado Art Run Cancel for catching opponents jumping away from your approach. Up tilts are also great from walking in the neutral, especially in Monado speed, to juggle opponents trying to land. Lastly, the tilt stick makes the Monado Purge far easier and more consistent to perform, because you will not input a jump cancelled up smash when attempting to buffer your up air out of a jump squat. Tap jump being set to on is a pretty significant decision, arising complications and advantages of its own. It makes 2 inputs much easier, the Monodakis, and jump cancelled air slash out of shield. Since the moves tilt the joystick upwards, you usually jump cancel without even realizing it. However, there are some significant downsides. First, double jumps get used up when using air slash in the air unless inputted very carefully. Gimping can become a serious problem. Secondly, if tab jump is used instead of a shoulder button for jumping, horizontal inputs cannot be inputted at the same time, making it more difficult to jump from side to side efficiently and effectively. Darkwolf is a solo Shulk main from Montreal, Quebec, currently ranked 8th on their PR. He placed 13th at Gommel 2016, the highest placement for a Shulk main at a national to date. His control scheme has several notable changes which help him in a number of ways. First is setting R to jump. This is actually one of the most important control options that a Shulk player can use. Jumping with a trigger or shoulder button has several advantages over using the X or Y buttons. The first advantage it has is with Monado Art landing leg cancels, primarily those which require inputs to be made directly after or before a jump. There is no need to move your thumb between jump and special, allowing for more frame-tight inputs to be executed with ease. It also has a significant role in assisting with the Monado Purge. In a similar way, you can jump and attack without having to move your thumb from your jump button to your C-stick. This is especially helpful for progressions where you cannot buffer your up air during your jump squat. Your inputs will be tighter, your aerials will come out faster, and thus your opponent will have less chance of avoiding your attack. Using air slash out of shield is simplified as well. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, using a trigger or shoulder button for jump improves Shulk's air game astronomically. It allows for Shulk to fluidly and easily switch between arts and use aerials while jumping and moving in the air. Your right thumb only needs to move between 2 positions at any time, special and C-stick. This optimizes your aerial control, allowing for retreating fairs or approaching bears without moving your thumb at all. The only way to achieve these benefits without the use of a trigger or shoulder button to jump is with a claw grip. Again, your thumb will only need to move between special and C-stick while your index finger remains in the jump button at all times. Darkwolf also sets his C-stick to smash instead of attack. Like tap jump, this makes Shulk's Monodakis easier to perform. The same applies to pivot forward smashes. Alternatively, you can also use A and B smash to make these inputs easier. The major drawback of smash stick is the inability to buffer an up air out of a jump squat when attempting the Monado purge, as you will always input a jump cancelled up smash instead. In addition, using smash C-stick for aerials will halt your aerial momentum when holding it down, unlike attack C-stick. This means that some combos and strings for Shulk will be harder to input with the smash C-stick. Tremendo Dude is a Shulk main from South Florida and is presently sponsored by Aether Esports. Like Nico, he has a C-stick set to attack, and like Darkwolf, he uses his trigger to optimize his inputs. But in this case, he sets it to specials instead of jump. Like jumping with the shoulder button and pressing B, a special button on the shoulder can ease inputs such as Malk, air slash out of shield, and simply cycling through arts. However, it does not assist with using aerials more easily, as you will still have to move your finger from your jump button to your C-stick before you can attack. But it is great for Shulk mains who desire an alternative to remapping one of their shoulder buttons or triggers to jump.
Now let's take a look at a few other options worth mentioning, as well as setups for the Wii U Pro Controller. Another handy option is setting a face button to grab, and using it to input the second hit of air slash instead of special. This is primarily due to the threat of air slash being interrupted by a weak knockback move partway through the first hit. If you are inputting the second hit while holding towards the stage to extend air slash's range, you will instead input a backslash. Using grab instead of special move for the second hit causes an air dodge to come out instead, which can be easily recovered from. With the Wii U Pro Controller, you should use Y for grab, since it is closest to B. On the GameCube controller, the choice is up to personal preference. With the Wii U Pro Controller, you have more varied control options compared to the GameCube thanks to having 4 digital buttons instead of 2 slow analog triggers, and a single digital button. Having both a shoulder button set to jump, like Darkwolf, and a shoulder button to special, like Tremendo, is now an option. You can take the benefits of both options, while still having the other 2 digital buttons for your choosing. There is very minimal difference between the 4 shoulder buttons. However, you might find yourself preferentially using the bumpers or triggers depending on your own grip and prior use of the controller. The GameCube controller can achieve the same result with the claw grip, and with Z set to special, but this also means you must move shield or grab to a shoulder button if special is to remain pressed by the thumb. Now, the moment you have all been waiting for, here are our choices for fully optimized controller layouts for the GameCube controller and the Wii U Pro Controller. For GameCube controller without claw grip, tap jump off, A and B smash on, Z jump, X grab, Y shield, and C stick attack. For Wii U Pro Controller, tap jump off, and B smash on, R jump and right trigger shield, L special, Y grab, and right analog stick attack. Lastly, how are you, the player, supposed to actually change your layout to this? Well, you're gonna have to be mean to yourself. If you use tap jump, you need to just turn it off and make the button you want to jump with your only option. If you're not using C-stick for aerials, the best way to fix it is to turn A off. You are going to SD a lot, but it is worth it. And I did both of these methods in order to change my layout. And while I do not use the most optimal controller layout, I am always working on it. Right now I am working on using grab for my second hit of air slash.
While I am working on eliminating my use of the GameCube triggers entirely, using X and Y for shielding and grabbing, as I already exclusively use Z as my jump button. This way, I will be confident that my inputs are as fast and efficient as possible. We thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and hope that it helps you improve your Shulk gameplay. We will be debuting a new Shulk-specific advanced technique in the near future, so be sure to subscribe to keep up to date on our content as we release it.